My name is Alexandru Dobrev. I'm head of unit in National Bank of Romania, and I'm responsible for the oversight of financial market infrastructures. And in this panel, we will discuss about operational resilience. The title is quite ironic, ready for the worst, planning for the best. Any regulator would see it the other way around, like train hard, fight easy. And we have some important fighters here to help us in dealing with operational resilience and operational incidents and cyber attacks. And I would start with Bogdan Pătru from MasterCard. He's a government engagement director for Romania and Croatia, and he is a partner for government entities and public entities and NGOs with regard to innovation, digitalization, and everything that we talked about today. Then I mentioned Gabriel Tănase, who's a partner in cybersecurity services at KPMG. He's the guy you call when you have actual questions about cyber resilience. His focus is to help and enhance the security and resilience of businesses, and he does that by improving their cyber defense and testing their cyber defense. To my right, from Microsoft, another strong partner, probably to all of you, Anca Ionașcu, sales executive enterprise accounts. She manages relations with large clients from the financial services industry, and she is basically responsible to provide solutions to all that we throw out in these regulations. Then from Orange, Șerban Raul, cyber security expert and CISO for Orange Romania. He's responsible for implementing security strategies and managing IT and cyber security. And probably many of you know that Orange is a big supplier of data centers in Romania. So it's all fine and good with the software solutions, but they have to run on reliable hardware. Last but not least, from National Bank of Romania, Octavian Cernăianu. He's our CISO for financial market infrastructures. He's responsible, he is the second line of defense in NBR for information security and cyber resilience. So, coming to our topic for today, operational resilience, the biggest thing that is happening in this area is DORA. DORA is coming, is published. Every day a new delegated regulation for it appears. It will be enforced next year in January. And I would ask all the panelists, to make it shorter, all the panelists to try to tell us what is their view. Is DORA a big thing for them? Is it important for their clients, their partners? Is DORA a project? And if it is, what are the challenges that they see? And for us, just to be on an equal footing, for National Bank of Romania, DORA is first and foremost a challenge from the regulatory perspective. We participated in drafting the regulation at the EU level, and now we have to implement law in Romania together with the Financial Market Supervisory Authority. We have to implement the regulation in our national legal framework, and we have to adopt all the other regulations that we had dealing with operational resilience so that they are compliant with DORA and there are no overlaps. And of course, we are also an operator of financial market infrastructure. We are we could say, the critical point in the entire framework of the financial market in Romania, because they all rely on us. So we need to be very much compliant with all the requirements of DORA to the highest level as a critical link for financial institutions. As they rely on you actually for their business continuity, because they say if our data center fails, if everything fails, we rely on MasterCard to do payments for us, and we just guarantee that whatever comes from them as a net position, we will cover it, and that's that. So you are the last line of defense for the financial system. So how do you see it?
Well, we are the last line of defense, and but at the same time, we are the first line of defense, if you look about it. And I particularly liked a phrase from the previous panel, that you should care about all stakeholders. And indeed, we are at the core center of interaction between financial institutions, consumers, merchants, public institutions, governments, throughout the world. And ever since the beginning, one of our core missions was to, and still is, to make payments safe, secure, fast, innovative, digital, and inclusive. And we've built the entire strategy in terms of innovation and of new products and services around this. And we've acted with great responsibility. And when you're responsible for 140-something billion transactions, this responsibility is entirely on your shoulders. So we've started, first of all, trying to ensure that our network is safe. And we've invested in research, and we've invested in development, we've invested in acquisitions. But then we've started thinking, or the company started thinking, that it's not enough for ourselves to be protected and to be resilient and to be secure. We need to make sure that all participants in the ecosystem benefit from the same level of safety and security. And we've begun to be a bit more, I would say, active in investing in cyber resilience and in operational resilience. And just for an example, for the 5 years, we've invested over 7 billion euros in development, in research, in innovation, in acquisition, or in funding startups or fintechs in the area of cybersecurity and resilience. And that's why I'm saying that, you know, we are the last line of defense, but we are also the first line of defense. Furthermore, now we've reached a milestone just recently when one of our services, one of our solutions for cybersecurity, it's a cybersecurity third-party risk assessment solution, and every 10 minutes, one of the 19 million clients around the world is being assessed from this perspective. This would be, I would say, in a very nutshell, what we're trying to do. But it's not enough, and it's definitely not enough always. And it's a happy coincidence, but I'm very pleased to be here in the headquarters of the Romanian Central Bank and in front of you, to announce that today it's been the official launch of the MasterCard European Center for Cyber Resilience in Waterloo. It's been under preparation for some time, but today is the official launch. It's open, it's up and running. It's been tested, it's been verified. We know very well what it does, and its role is to connect regulators, connect authorities, connect law enforcement agencies, connect financial institutions, experts, academia, NGOs, pretty much everybody in Europe under the same roof, and share best case examples, share best practices, share worst practices, exchange of information, which is vital when we speak about operational resilience and cybersecurity, from monitoring trends, monitoring activity, and trying to, based on all this information, with the usage of new technologies to anticipate, to prepare for what's coming, to try to have models and responses ready for a multitude of scenarios into place. That's in very short what we do as main areas of activity. But last but not least, and I think it's equally important, even if it cannot be always quantified or monetized, it's the part of education. And since I've joined MasterCard, my first speech in front of the Romanian Central Bank was advocating for financial inclusion and financial education. And a couple of years later, it's switched to a need to increase the digital literacy programs in Romania. And today we've reached another milestone where I think that cybersecurity is absolutely vital in every aspect of the life, because our network may be as protected as possible. The bank may have the top in the world mechanisms into place, but if I, as an end user, fall for the schemes and the phishing and the social engineering, which we see is more and more sophisticated, in the end, it's my responsibility as an end user. And I think that all these directions need to go hand in hand, and you can't really say that one is less important than the other, and I should focus more on this one or the other one. That would be in a nutshell. Thank you.
All the scenarios I've seen, trying to test a bank, doing a red team test, all the scenarios start with, we send some phishing emails, and then it all starts with that. So it's not just the consumer, it's also the bank, the financial institutions, employees that need to be very aware of cyber hygiene, let's say.
It's a cyber hygiene, I completely agree.
So now from KPMG, Gabriel Tănase, how do you see operational resilience and DORA? Because what we get from your clients is that our consultant said so. So they take it as gospel.
Yes. First of all, hello to everyone, and thank you for the invitation today. Now, starting with the idea if DORA is a project or not. I think DORA is a project. Now it depends for who and with what complexity and size. Why I'm saying this? Because for larger organizations, maybe parts of international groups, the project may be less complex and not so big, having the maturity to implement a secure environment. And here we can discuss about organizations that are doing efforts in the cybersecurity area, not from now, but for years, and are doing such efforts proactively, not waiting for the regulator to impose something. And especially in the banking area, in the banking industry, I think there is the best status quo, because many of the requirements from DORA are not at the first view. Some of them, or many of them, are coming from ECB regulations, which are not necessarily new. So it should be a certain level of maturity. Now for smaller entities and even smaller banks and from other entities within the financial industry, things may be much more complicated. Yeah, because maturity is not at the same level and their struggles will be significant. Now discussing about Romanian entities as compared with entities from other markets, European markets, because we have different work groups at European level, and we discuss about how we can support our clients to achieve compliance and to make their effort more supportable, let's say. I think this is not new. Unfortunately, the Romanian market is a regulatory-driven market. And in time, many of the projects were done not necessarily proactively, but because someone asked. And we have a lot of examples, yeah, and I don't want to mention any, but a lot of previous regulations were not necessarily implemented to bring or to get the real value, but more to make a check on a paper and to say, okay, we've done this, we are fine. So Romanian market, I think, has still a lot to do. And now we'll see, because DORA, even if the maturity is at a certain level, still brings some new requirements and some new ways to approach some areas. And what we've seen, only few entities started real projects for DORA compliance in Romania, as compared with a much larger percent in other countries. Yeah, so, and the easiest thing is to start what? A gap assessment, to see exactly where are the gaps against the requirements from DORA. So if you want my personal opinion, I think only a few organizations will be ready on Romanian market next year in January. Of course, it's a process. It's not easy to achieve compliance from the beginning, but sometimes efforts are coming too late, and it's quite difficult to achieve that certain level at the deadline. We'll see how this will be further managed in the second part of the year. I think that much more focus will appear here. Cybersecurity is not an enemy of innovation. I think cybersecurity and resilience, it's a partner of the innovation process. And if we combine this at the beginning, yes, and when we innovate, we also think timely about risks and how we can do not to destroy our idea by some early actions because we did not approach this at the beginning. I think that will be a key area, how to think about cyber and resilience at an early stage for everything we do.
We are used as regulators, as supervisors with concrete targets that we want to see that financial institutions set for themselves, like recovery time objective. So we are used to seeing 4 hours, 6 hours, 2 hours maybe, hopefully. But recently we are starting to see more and more zero recovery time objective. And how do you reach zero? Microsoft, please.
Thank you. It's a good intro for us because zero is a part of our strategy, which is called Zero Trust from Microsoft. And it's in compliance to all the things that we are discussing today. So for us, DORA is not such a new thing that took us by surprise because GDPR regulations and NIS2 regulations are things that we were carefully looking at, and we comply with each one of those. For Microsoft, we have two phases to look at DORA proposals. We are on one hand, the ones that should be prepared for ourselves. That's, of course, taking care to be compliant to everything that is required, and we will be ready for those when the announcement will be made. And on the other hand, we are the ones that are helping financial institutions to get ready for those type of regulations, right? So Microsoft already, I admired what you said, Gabriel, earlier about the first step being a gap assessment. Starting with NIS2, we put publicly a site in place for everybody that can use and do their own assessment. How do we stand in front of NIS2? How do we stand in front of DORA when we will know exactly what that means? So you, as a company, can now make your own assessment from your own office and see what are your gaps. Of course, it's a general view, but you also get some recommendations from Microsoft. If you have a gap in security, what you should use and what technology can be used, because we have a lot of technologies on the market, so it's a lot of information to be studied. Everything is in one place on our website and is ready to be used. Also, we know that some of the requirements will be ready to be consumed from our Microsoft technology, like Microsoft Defender, which is a threat protection solution, or Microsoft Compliance Manager Purview, which is clearly the best solution used in the whole world for response and detect the risks. We are ready for this. We are ready to help you, each of your companies, to respond to the requirements, and we see DORA as a clarity that brings everybody on the same level to understand what is needed. We still are reading thousands of pages of regulations, but the clarity is needed here. And the clarity is something that helps all of us to do the best possible. As our CEO said 2 months ago, our strategy is security first. So we are really, really serious about being security first for us and for our customers.
Basically, DORA and NIS2 will be together. First will be NIS2 in order to accommodate the resilience, of course, in our industry, and after that will be DORA in order to give to all the financial segment the necessary safe net, because the financial sector will need this safe net. More and more malicious actors from different countries with unlimited money, they make more attacks that are dangerous to the financial sectors. We know that we are in a continued collaborations with all our clients, and as you already told, there are many banks that operate in Romania, and not only from the Romania. And we want to offer them this safe net. And in order to offer that, we already are one step. We already have the collaboration with Microsoft from 2 years. And because of that, we can be sure that we will give them a fully compliance with DORA. But as you know, in security, we don't have a 100%. We have only 99. Why? Because all the time, 1% is the human risk liability. And in the different panels and also at the beginning of these discussions, we are talking about training. But training is not limited only on the financial, let's say, elements. Let's think about training each of us from the beginning, in the morning when we are working, let's say, where we are putting the phone, when we are going in a meeting, what to discuss. So, because we have identified many elements that must be introduced in our trainings, we have begun a more comprehensive training programs in many areas in our company and also in our client side. I believe that this week or last week, I was in a meeting with some representative from a bank and also with some representative from their ICT externalized company. And one of the specialists, asked us, what is DORA? We look at that person and ask him, what do you understand or what do you know about DORA? We have received an unexpected answer. DORA is the Explorer. So if you have kids, you know what is DORA the Explorer. So, no, DORA is not the DORA Explorer, but if you want to make an analogy to that cartoon, you will see that the elements can be quite similar, because in the cartoon, Dora is preparing for a trip. What we are doing now, we are in the same steps. We are in the phase of preparing for a long journey, and the similarity, it will be like in the GDPR implementation, it will be a long journey for the fully compliance in DORA.
Octavian, are we prepared? Are we safe? What's your opinion?
We are never safe enough because, as you know, we did a lot of things to have a good security posture, and we did a lot of things on having a reliable business continuity second center, and also plans, and we did a lot in risk management, because this DORA Act has a risk-based approach. So we have a risk management framework, a security framework, and a business continuity framework before DORA appeared in the landscape. Now, we need to align all those frameworks to DORA requirements, and it's a challenging aspect of our life, because in this compliance process, we need to, as mentioned before, perform a gap analysis. We need to fully understand the DORA requirements. There are also technical standards, like regulatory technical standards and implementing technical standards, that are produced but not yet enforced, published. So we need to analyze all these legislation and have a gap analysis, and after this we will know, we will have a good plan of implementing DORA. We need to focus on education, on trainings and awareness about the DORA requirements, because we already have some requirements from PFMI, from other acts like CROE, and also we have requirements from the standards that we need to implement in our environment to have a good resilience and good cybersecurity, because as I mentioned before, DORA is about cybersecurity, it's about risk management, and it's about business continuity. All those things need to be harmonized and aligned with DORA requirements. So basically, this is what we focus on. I think there will be a challenge in the third-party relationship, because we need to change the contractual agreements with them, and this can be painful, especially for them, because they need to do a lot of things. We need to put a lot of things in the contracts with our vendors, and there is a pain for us as well, because we need to increase our due diligence and audits on their site.
There were some acronyms mentioned. That's because DORA doesn't come in a vacuum. There were other standards, there were other requirements, but they were separate. They appeared at different times, they applied to different entities. Now it's more clear. It's in one place, it's level playing field for all what the requirements are at the EU level. So not all of the requirements are new for all the players, but the whole package is new and it's more comprehensive than ever. So for closing remarks, and conscious of the time, I would ask each of you in a few words, to give us your opinion. What's the biggest change after DORA? What do you think will be the biggest impact, the biggest change that we will see after DORA is in force?
In an ideal world, given the complexity of DORA and given the fact that it tackles the ecosystem, not just one entity, it talks about third parties, it talks about service providers, etc., overlap with NIS2 directive. I'd like to believe that after we start complaining as usual about the complexity of legal requirements, about the cost of compliance, then the increased cost of doing business and the increased administrative burden, which by the way, if we do the math, it might be a lot less than the actual financial impact of a cyber attack or a stoppage in the operational or the business continuity activities. But I like to say that once we all start working in this ecosystem in a more standardized and unified and single approach, and we all need to respect the same set of rules, and this is indeed this level playing field in ensuring this criteria, this would benefit in the end the entire ecosystem, leading to an increase of trust in the services that each of us provides, from the consumers, from the clients, from financial institutions, from governments, from merchants, etc. So again, in an ideal world, I would like to say that all this legislation, and indeed this is I have a public policy backbone, so that's why I like legislation and over legislation, but it's not been aimed at increasing our day-to-day activities. It's been aimed at increasing the level of trust in the industry and in the services that we provide. So hopefully they will work for the best. How we will reach to work for the best, it depends to each of us, each one of us, on the level of compliance we will ensure with these provisions. That would be the expected outcome of the legislation, or what I expect to be in an ideal world. Hopefully we'll discuss again about 2 or 3 years, and we'll see where we are.
The overall maturity, cyber maturity of the market should increase. And when I say market, probably is not the best term, probably environment or industries, across industries. Why? Because I will just give a few examples. Third parties. We know very well that there are a lot of cases when the third party was the weak link within a business. And we have international cases which are famous, and it was debated a lot about them. I can say that it's the same for Romanian market, because we seen in our testing, security testing, that many times third parties were the weakest link for the banks. Sometimes third parties are very small companies, innovative, but as I mentioned, not necessarily with security in mind from the beginning. And after that, it's quite difficult to catch up. Even larger entities, technology providers, had problems. Now, of course, we also discuss about solutions which are secure and provide all the security mechanisms to implement secure systems and solutions, like cloud. Cloud can be secure if you configure well. So it's also a matter of educating, forcing the education in new technologies, to be sure that you really use all those features that are provided within the solution and new technologies that you are implementing. Another area will be also applying the same measurement for important entities across the financial industry, because except banks, others were not at the same level. So there is a risk also there, because they are also managing our data, sometimes very important data, and that data being exposed can be used to build other type of attacks against people and against institutions that can fall having such data for the attacks. And I think in our view as consultants and security auditors, I think one of the main points is the risk-based approach. Why this? Because many times we had regulations stating a set of requirements, and clients were saying, yeah, I've done this, this is the list. If you ask me one point above this list, it's not my business. It doesn't say. It is not required. And it's quite a tough discussion with the client to explain why that is important, what is the risk behind, and how that risk can affect the entire business or even can impact those requirements which are on the list. So being a risk-based approach, I think will allow any entity to see the risks and to assess the risk and to implement appropriate control.
Okay, challenges. I think we all know that there will be challenges, and there are. It's part of our life. When you said what are the challenges, my first thought was the fact that with DORA, I believe we're going to change the audience. So we spoke about security and cybersecurity only with the security officers from the FSI sector. Now we're going to discuss with executive levels. They need to be aware of the cybersecurity threats, they need to be aware of the regulation, and they need to be aware of the prerequisites that are needed to be compliant with the regulations. So this discussion is kind of different, starting from technology, pilots, what we can do in security, to an executive discussion about awareness. Awareness of the importance of cybersecurity, awareness of the importance of security. That was the first challenge that crossed my mind. And the second one, which also I feel it day by day, is that I don't believe the banks or the financial sector at all can work with 20 or 30 vendors of security anymore. We need a holistic approach. There are so many regulations that interferes one with each other. You need to see the ecosystem of a security approach end to end. Of course, you take the best from the market, but I think you need to understand the whole structure and the whole organization. Are you using Microsoft 365? Is it integrated with your security policies? And I feel this will be the next step in thinking of a strategy end-to-end that will bring to zero trust. That zero that Alexandru said earlier. That were the main challenges that I see. Of course, there are many others that my colleagues mentioned earlier with third parties, but I feel that the fact that the third parties will have to comply to regulations, it's the best way possible. You don't feel like, I don't know, if you give a fintech a solution that will have APIs in 5 different banks and they have a breach, what will happen? In that moment, do you think it's so hard for this fintech to be compliant with the regulation? No, everybody will be super happy that there was a regulation and they are ready to respond in zero time to cybersecurity threats.
Once and for all, DORA will give us the necessary measure and the understanding to collaborate more clearly and efficient with the third party and with all the industry, because the financial industry, it is not the only one that will be affected. The entire chain of supply will be affected. From the infrastructure, from the telecommunication with the internet, and also for the mobile banking, for the card payment, and also with our suppliers from the technical zone, firewalls, data centers, every equipment that will be involved must be resilient and also to have the capacity to sustain DORA. And for this reason, in my opinion, it will be peace and prosperity for all the parts.
The primary challenge will be to understand DORA and its ITS, RTS components, to fully understand it, and to have the same understanding with the authorities and the vendors. This is the first challenge, in my opinion. And then it's about resource allocation. You need to ensure adequate resource allocation on this. And another thing is the way that you implement it. If you implement it just to check the compliance with DORA, this will not bring us happy and prosperity. If you implement it to enhance your overall security resilience, security posture and resilience with this implementation, then your effort will be a success. Thank you.
DORA doesn't just set clear responsibilities for the board of the financial entity. Like mentioned, the discussion is now not just with the IT guys, it's with the board members, because that's what, where it should be, the final responsibility. It's also with the prudential supervisor. It's with the entity that gave you the license. That's the entity that's finally responsible for cybersecurity and operational resilience. And this is a change, because it was probably comfortable for prudential supervisors, for entities that regulate and authorize, to delegate such a responsibility to other authorities that are more specialized in the IT area. And DORA changes that, moves all the responsibility on the entity that knows the financial entity top to bottom, and they've put a stamp of approval on it. Now you have to deal with cybersecurity also. So yes, it's a challenge for us too. Thank you very much for your patience. I think it's quite in time almost. We invite you for a lunch right next door, and not to forget about the visit to the museum after that. It's very interesting, and it's a rare occasion to do it with a guide that will explain you everything. Thank you very much.